So today in the shop, we had what I count as probably the best day of the year, a super day. Super productive. We got the clear on Joe's Ducati. I set up a brand new spray gun so that the clear on his final coats of clear would be beautiful. And everything worked out. We've had just one of those days. The weather played to our favor. The paint laid down beautifully. The temperature was perfect for painting. It was about 40 degrees. Everything went on very uneventfully. And I promised myself if everything went fine, I would take a little ride in the afternoon, and I did. And it just made the day so complete to be able to get that work done to perfection and still have enough time. I actually put the last of the paint on the black wheel, got the MT-09 out, knowing full well that at the end of this ride, I'll have to desalt it and take a day to clean it. It was worth it. It was really worth it. So I got out on the open road here and made sure I had the traction control on setting 2. Well, you just can't imagine the luck we've had today. I looked at the weather late last night and they said today it's going to be 40 by noon and maybe in the mid-40s by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So what I did, genius that I am, I set the alarm early, got up with the chickens, took care of a couple of personal things I had to do for Karen around the house, and it's time to put that clear on the Ducati. And it's early and the wind isn't blowing, even if it blows later in the day. We've gotten burned the last couple of days on this nice day, but it's windy. Today, no wind at all. So I can't wait. And maybe we'll be done early enough I can sneak out on one of the bikes for a little ride. If it goes above 40, well, I still want to get that clear on a Ducati right now. No matter what, and I don't want to waste any time, I want to get right into it. And the wheel dried up just absolutely beautifully. Oh, well, the thing is, the wheels don't blow away when the wind is blowing, but I don't want to squander this opportunity because you don't know, the next week or so, it could go back to being what we had, rainy, cloudy, whatever. We don't want to waste a minute of it. And there's nothing really more exciting than the anticipation after the weather that we've had and all this snow melting up, to be able to get out on a bike, to be able to get the clear on a day the wind isn't howling 100 miles an hour. It's so important for me to take advantage of a day like today, not spend any time on something I don't really have to do. Yeah, I really want to take full advantage of this. So the coffee is going to be brewing in about 2 minutes. The birds are going to be fed, the pond's going to be de-iced, and I'm ready. So I think the first thing I have to do is get this down the cellar under a heating vent. It's been drying out here overnight. It's ready for a day under the heating vent. Early in the morning. Oh man, that's going to look beautiful. Up to the heating vent. Oh, it just looks like a heavenly day out there. Just going to be a heavenly day for painting and maybe even a little ride. We always start the day off feeding the birds, making sure they're happy. They are. Alright, that coffee went down beautifully. We've got one part just to review. This part's already been sanded. 1000 grit. It is ready, absolutely ready for just to be tack ragged and cleared. The second part, I want to get some clear over the decals. I want to just take some 600 grit paper and knock some of these nibs down. There's just a couple of nibs in there. Being very careful, don't go anywhere near the decal and don't put any scratches or anything in it unnecessarily. But we are ready to mix up some clear and paint. Okay, one final tack rag and we will be ready. Oh, and boy, the weather is cooperating today. What a day. You really appreciate it in this part of the country when you get a day like today. And this clear has worked well for Luciano's project, the H1 project we just finished. And Joe bought this gallon and he's sharing it with me on this project I'm doing with the wheel and the Ducati. This is definitely a good product. Definitely, even I can't find any big difference between it and the Gavco or the 5-star, but it's definitely a good product. Now I got a brand new spray gun the other day. This is for Joe's job, but we'll use it up today. Today's a good day. We're just going to spray a lot of clear on his Ducati today. A nice brand new gun, and these are really good. I really get my money's worth out of these. It's amazing. Not a big deal putting it together. Don't forget to put the little filter in between the gun and the cup. Sometimes people forget it. Now, before I use a new gun, I like to just shoot a little bit of acetone through it. Just so if there's any dust or dirt or anything in there, it's not going to wind up in a clear, even though that little filter does protect it some. Cheap insurance. Now, it's kind of self-explanatory. This is the mixture control, how much paint goes through. This controls the fan. Pretty simple to set the gun up. It's really set pretty close when you buy it. But we'll fine-tune it before we actually paint parts, of course. So we're going to mix paint. It's time to spray clear. We have waited for this day for a long time. So in fast forward here, you can see, and this is a brand new gun, and required a little fine tuning there right in the beginning. But it was a little chilly in the morning when I started this. It warmed right up. By the time I had this piece done, it was warmed up, and then the wind started blowing, but nothing that made this a difficult job. So all the patience we put into waiting for this day paid off big time to have these parts as good as we can make them for Joe. The patience really paid off. Well, it certainly did pay to wait for this day. There's just a minimum of wind. It's not affecting anything. And I think you can see even in the video how that paint is laying down. But the big lesson learned is you got to be patient. It takes a lot of sanding, and number one, you got to have a good day to do it, like today. Today is just an exceptional day. I don't know how else to say it. It's just perfect. So we are really in the catbird seat here. Now, what's going to happen? That's going to dry 20 minutes, 45 minutes. It's still chilly out here. It's not warm. So what I'll do while this is drying, I'll go get the other part, get the clear on the other part. So while the first coat is drying up, I may get 2 coats on this. I don't know. I'm going to see how this dries up. But the biggest thing, we really had taken advantage of this weather. It was so worth waiting. That paint is just laying down perfectly. Now the idea of keeping it out here in the garage, because there's a lot less dust and less chance a bird will poop on it or a bug will fly into it or something. Just safer in here while it's kicking off. The wind is just starting to come up now. We're just going to beat the system, I hope. And you can see on the second part here, the wind came up. Nothing like the 2 days before this. I was so afraid these parts were going to blow away. And trust me, I have had them blow away. I have had them where I've caught them in midair, too. And then that's the end of that painting day. Time to sand there and rehab it. Anyway. I learned my lesson the hard way. I wait for a day it's not terribly windy. And in the case of doing Joe's parts, all the patience we put into this, all the time and effort, it paid big time. Oh, that laid down nice. Oh boy, oh boy. This is what makes waiting for a good day. Now it's starting to get breezy now, but we already have mission accomplished here, so I'm not going to worry about anything. Get that guy into the garage where it'll be safe, no bugs will fly into it, and declare victory and have another cup of coffee. So while this was drying between coats, I got a little bit of an extra coat, just a little extra, as long as we have such a beautiful day. That'll give me plenty to sand for the final coat. That just was a free bonus today, getting that on. Because I always have to wait 20 minutes, 45 minutes between coats, but that's free lunch. So now I got all the clear I can get on here today. This is 2 full coats, a little bit extra over the decals. This, I don't know if this could be any better than this. This day just turned out great. Just unbelievably good. Time to get everything put in the garage and put it to sleep overnight. Come back and look at it tomorrow morning. Oh, this tacked up beautifully. Look at the day. It's way over 40 degrees already. And Karen yelled out to me, "You better get going. Don't lose today." So after another cup of coffee, just looking over everything here, taking a little victory lap for today. Oh, that's drying up beautifully. You couldn't even imagine what a nice day this turned out to be, and well worth the wait when I think of how long we waited for this day. Wow. And we take a big victory lap. Hey, we're going to take a victory lap today. This is the victory lap. We're going to head out on the MT-09, have a short ride, a couple hours, and we're going to check that wind slayer out again, just confirm what we thought before. And I'm already researching out how to make or buy a wind slayer thing so we can get less wind noise on our Canon footage. And whether you love the looks or hate the looks, as soon as you get on a saddle, you don't see the bike, but you do feel that light and nimble performance. So we're headed out. And it looks like the wind slayer is doing just what it did the other day. It's doing a great job with the wind noise. Thank you, Turbo Steve. Even better if we can get it on the Canon too. Even getting out on the main highways, going through the gears. The sound of this engine when you're riding the bike, when you're in the driver's seat, amazing. The sound of the engine when you're not riding the bike is nice. Actually, it really has a nice throaty sound without being, "Please give me a ticket, officer." And of course we have to ride through some populated areas to get up to where the and north of here it's about 10 degrees colder. All the lakes are frozen. Much colder than it is in Rutherford. I was surprised how much colder, and none of the snow is melted. You can see the snow on the side of the road, even in the populated areas. Oh, the lake is totally frozen here. Oh my God. Going through the tunnels. You never know when you come out of the tunnel, there's a slippery spot. Now the traction control on this bike on setting 2 is amazing. always leave that traction control on setting 2. There's a reason.
There's a racetrack where they were racing out on a frozen lake here. Pretty cool.
I want that traction control to kick in right away with the salt and these little sandy spots. The traction today was anything but perfect, especially in the little spots where they've salted. You can see the road is white, like they painted it white. Well, that means there's still some little grains of salt there that get really And once you come out of those slippery spots, you usually get a little tiny wheelie. But that traction control is amazing. It lets the wheel come up an inch and then cuts the motor. Now, if I were a young guy, I'd disable the traction. You can shove it off, of course, and just go around the plant doing wheelies. Unfortunately, that's not my thing anymore. What my thing is being safe. And needless to say, that quick shifter is to die for. I've had so much fun with that quick shifter. I wish I had the quick shifter on all the bikes. It's amazing once you have one. Back through the populated areas, and I'm glad the bike is quiet. That little racetrack they had out on the lake, I wonder if they were doing snowmobiles or what. I just never get sick of that quick shifter. What fun. Look at the blue sky here. Look at that sky. Holy mackerel. What a day. This turned out to be a day. Look at the stuff on the road. Look at that. You see? That's where the traction and back here over the real twisty roads. I've noticed under those bridges there's always dripping water that's frozen, not melted. Those underpasses are a real accident waiting to happen. I've just noticed it today. Another frozen lake, fully frozen. If you live in a warm weather climate, you don't know what you're missing. It really got cold up north. Now, if you keep the speed down, yeah, it's really not that cold, but once you get the speed up, that's not. Once you're up with the high speed, boy, it gets cold in a hurry, in a big hurry. Another place, right out here. You probably remember that. Little step out there right after the bridge. I wish I could memorize all these little slippery spots, but next week there'll be something different, so it doesn't even pay to memorize them. Not like a track day where you can memorize where the little idiosyncrasies are. Back down through the populated roads. Glad the bike is quiet. And once again, the Wind Slayer is just, this is just as good as you can get. Even facing lakes was still frozen. It really was solid ice. Now on that last scene, you could hear the traction control cutting in first gear. This is the only bike I have with traction control, and I really appreciate it on a day like today. If I took the R1 out, I wouldn't have that safety factor, or actually any of the other bikes. And I can't imagine having this bike with no traction control. That'd be an accident waiting to happen. So we really did steal a beautiful ride here. It was really cold up there where we were. Those lakes are still frozen. They're not frozen because it's over freezing up there. And I love the fact that they really salt the roads. They spend millions of dollars on salt so that I can clean it off the motorcycle, which I have to do. As soon as the exhaust cools off, I'll have to come out here with the rags and the wax. Everything's out of cell. What a beautiful day. Oh my God. How could you end a day like today without thanking the healthcare workers? Thank you guys so much for making it possible. I really appreciate it. I know Karen does too, and all my kids do. So, the only thing left to say today is summer is coming, but you know it's not. It's going to get cold in the next couple of days. But that's why it was so good to wait for this date to get that clear. That clear is on there cooking. I think the wheel is right behind me. It's still out on a bench. Sitting out in the bright sun cooking like a lizard. So, and we did get a ride on our MT-09. And boy, I never stop. Every time I get back from a ride on this bike. Am I glad this bike has traction control? The traction control is so good. In that salty, sloppy stuff, the wheel will come up just a little bit like on a wheelie and cuts it right off. Perfect. Saves you bacon all the time. Unless you want to do wheelies, then you just shut it off. I don't want to do wheelies. I want to come home alive. I'm going to have coffee. I hope you're going to wax your motorcycle, and thanks so much for watching. And we do try to post something up every day. We never know if it's a riding day, a work in a shop day, or a honeydew day, or somebody coming over to the house day, or we're going to somebody else's house day. As soon as this COVID's over, I hope we're going to get back to a normal visiting all our friends, checking out their shops, their projects, and until then, we're just going to try to be safe and go for these rides that we go on alone and hope that we stay safe and thank the healthcare workers again. So I hope you did enjoy the video. There's good information on the videos, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're at work and your boss is paying you to watch them. So thanks so much. Thanks again and again. Thanks so much for watching.